This is the MOSELEY, and you're watching the 3 Count Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast with this now entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dawg Miller, and a man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And by now, with this being season 7, and our 400 something episode, I would just hope you say it with me, I am your Sherpa, because like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering? You can see this person at House of Pain. You can see them at ATCW. You can see them at SWA. Half of one of the best tag teams that are up and coming, Thunder Road. He is the most Dean Moseley.
Thank you for having me on the show, Red Dawg. I am very excited to be here.
Hey, I'm excited to have you on because like the first time we actually met was at SWA, and then I felt like, you and I and Thunder Road, like all together, we kind of hit it off right, man. So I was like, hey,
Yeah.
we gotta
You
chop it
know,
up.
Thunder Road could be a little territorial of a clique at times, but, Red Dawg, you do carry the bravado it takes to roll the Thunder Road.
Hey, see, this is what we do here. No, so listen, I know you've been in the game for a little bit, right? You still kind of like bounding around, getting your feet wet, getting everything moving in the right direction. So, like, what made you want to get into the business?
Oh, I can't really remember a time when there's anything else I wanted to do. When I was a kid, I've always wanted to be an entertainer, when I always wanted to be an athlete, and it kind of naturally just morphed into the same thing. And here I am.
That I enjoy. So what's like one of my favorite thing is about like wrestling is like the world building, world creating, getting things together, breaking the fourth wall whenever I get a chance to. Uh yeah, it's just there's something about the entertainment side. You said it best. Like there's just something about the entertainment side of just like being around a crowd and just like hearing them like pull for you or cheer boo you. Like that's another one I really enjoy. But I genuinely love like building the world of a character up.
Right. Definitely.
So what about you? Like I know like, we have this image of you, right? This 19, this like, greaser type role, man, feeling it. I need to know like what was the biggest inspiration to get this off the ground?
See, I've just always been infatuated with the style and the aesthetic of the 1950s. I've always loved diner themes or anything of that, really. So it just felt like a very natural progression and role for me to take on.
I like that too. I mean, because like I when I see you guys, and what's great about Thunder Road too is like when I see you guys work, it definitely gives like that, hey, you're my territory type style, and I love like the bravado that you guys have, especially like at SWA, because I've actually watched you. I've been watching you guys for a while, so watching you guys is like and pulling back all the curtain. So it is what it is. Watching you guys' heel work is a lot of fun, but watching you guys' face work, man, the crowd really gets behind you guys because it's like something that feels familiar, especially when I see you guys working at like SWA. It just feels familiar, right? So like, not that I would be using these kind of words, but like a Grease 2, Crybaby kind of like stylistic move. You get attached to those things, those kind of characters, the John Travoltas, and the Johnny Depps of like the world, and you just can't help but like get infatuated with your guys' like bravado, your guys' demeanors.
There's certainly worse names to have yours in company of, that's for sure. So I do appreciate the compliment. Me and Troy Thunder, we gel well. At first, all teams have their growing pains, but really once we hit it off, there was no looking back. And
Yeah.
it's definitely a different experience to have the crowd cheer you instead of boo you.
But which one do you like more? Do you like hearing the cheers? Do you like hearing the boos?
You know, there's I like them both for different reasons. It's really hard to pick one. No, I'm more used to the booze, so I guess a part of me like prefers that because it's a lot more fun. But maybe because the cheers are so rare, only hearing them a few times a year, there's something about that that's refreshing.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I love being cheered. But I can't help but say when I hear people boo me, it is like one of the best feelings. I'm like, yeah, because you know you're about to just hate me for all the right reasons.
For all
Like,
the right reasons, right?
I
As long
had a
as you care, you will
yeah, yeah,
remember.
and that's the part too. Is like you, it's weird too because you kind of do like it's funny because you talk about you right like just being infatuated with the 50s lifestyle and just the way of the work, the way it makes you feel, like all that stuff. And it's funny because like even for me, like the natural progression for me, right, as far as like a heel, and you'll understand because my brothers really talk about this a lot. But when I'm with like pure ignorance, like the trash talking is immense. We crank that up to like a million. You know, everybody hates you and they don't know why. They just don't like you because it's you. And it's so much fun to just like watch everybody just lose their shit when you're around.
Yeah, there's nothing more beautiful than a proper setup and payoff. That's for sure. You know,
Right.
it's as long as the crowd's invested and they're feeling whatever product I'm putting out, I could not be happier with any reaction.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So talk to me about something else, man. Like you you're fit, bruh. Like let's keep it 100. And I've been a personal trainer now for a few years and so like I've been trying to like get people's like secrets, man. Like what is it that's keeping you like tight? What kind of things are you like hitting?
It's just general range of motion, you know. And what we do, there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of movement that you're not necessarily prepared for, you know. And hitting the ground as many times as we do, you gotta stay loose, stay ready. And it's just you can strength at your own progress with body weight stuff like that. Cause I've nursed a few injuries over my couple years in the ring, and they still bother me to this day. And sometimes I just can't push the weight I would like to. But with things like that, it helps me get a lot closer than I was the day before, and ultimately that's the goal.
That is the goal, is to just be like 1% better than like the day
Right.
before. You know?
Right.
It's funny because like I've gone on this little journey and I've actually been able to watch it like through all of wrestling. So I know like I entered in back in 2020 and I was like kind of bigger and I needed to work on like tightening up. So I started just kind of running, getting in shape, lifting, tightening everything down. I got into like a really good shape and then I moved actually from Baltimore to the New England area.
Right.
And from there, like I didn't really I shouldn't say I let go, but I got bigger, you know. So I was like, all right, I need to work on this. And so recently, like I've been working on like toning back down and getting my stuff together. And it wasn't until like just this last couple weeks ago, I was in a match and I was like, damn, like, okay, now we're definitely headed on the right track, like focusing on that stuff, really focus on like cardio, focus on like what I'm eating. You know, it's a long process and it's always been a long process, but if you're willing to stay dedicated to it, you're gonna get like so much of a reward for what you're doing. So like nutrition has to be like one of the biggest things that like a
Definitely.
lot of people don't focus on, and you should be because like how else are you supposed to get yourself ready at the best if
Right.
you're not feeding yourself correctly?
And even just in general, knowing what you're putting in your body is always a good thing. I mean, to an extent, like most things are good in what's the word for it? Moderation. That's a good
Yeah,
word for it. And it's just, with some things, they're just bad in general. And just having any type of nutrition mixed in there really, really goes a long way. Because just with clearing up like head fogness, generally not feeling like crap, really.
yeah. Well, I say that, and I talk about nutrition, and here before we even shot the podcast, I'm over here talking about how I'm having like slices of pizza. To be fair though, this morning like been a pretty heavy protein day, so like
Really pulling the curtain back, huh?
yeah, always. Man. What I really love about that's what I love about this podcast is more about like a conversation with like with wrestlers to kind of figure out their journey, why they got in, like what's been like their favorite part of like the business. And so like this podcast has been one of those things that like has helped me immensely grow like as a performer, as a wrestler, as a like a mentor to people. Like so it's definitely been kind of nice to like see all this stuff played out. And this being our seventh season, like I want to just give back like the information that I've like received. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of like where this is like starting to turn now. Because I remember like hitting my 5 year mark, and I was like, all right, what am I supposed to learn now? And it's like, well, there's a lot of stuff you could learn, and mainly like, what are you gonna do to help like bring up the rest of the people around you who is just like getting into the business, or what kind of information would I give to people who are just getting in? So that's kind of like where I'm at now with this podcast. And I'm just like, yo, finding more people who are a little bit more older than me, more seasoned than me, and then like talk to them about what their journeys are like too. So it's always been like, it's been a great thing to kind of been a part of this whole thing.
It's a really good mindset. Like it's true. You really never stop learning, and I feel like at that point, like what do you have left here for? I guess is a good way to put it. Because I want to learn something new every day. There's always a new counter, a new way to look at things, a new way to do something, and yeah, talking to all the people that you can that have been there and done it. It really, it's there really is no substitute for experience.
No, and I get it, right? So there's like a sense of kayfabe that needs to be held back, and so like even like the character Red Dog understands like there's rules that like have to be abided by. So he doesn't like push as far as those rules work. But the one thing I do understand like with this podcast is that like this isn't like, if a promoter gets mad at me because like you're exposing the business, kid. Tough shit. First of all, I'm 41. Don't tell me I'm a kid. And secondly, I'm about ready to call it a day anyway with this whole thing. So like I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. So
Cryptic words from the champ, huh? You're on top of your
yeah.
game.
It is. It's crazy though, man, because it's like one of those things where it's like this whole world is just so much fun to be a part of, and it's like, I get a chance to be creative and come up with new things or listen to people with their ideas, and then just like learn from them and pull stuff. Like this has been like one of the most rewarding journeys that I've been on in quite some time, and it's coming from a dude who served in the military. So to be a
Right.
part of something that I got to help create, help push, help develop, get to work with new people all the time, talk to people about everything. It's a lot of fun.
Right, most definitely, and it's such an easy business to get caught up in what everybody else is doing and all the things that are out there to do. It's easy to not appreciate the things you have done. And I speak from experience all the time. I think about it, it's like, oh, there's so many places I want to go, and like look at what all these other people are doing in this amount of time, and it's like circumstances are different. I've done some things like 12-year-old me would think I'm the coolest person ever. So and I try to remember that every day and really appreciate each match.
And I'm glad you do, because that's something that I've just started recently learning, like at my old age, that like if I was to pull myself out of like at where I'm at now and put myself at a 50,000 foot view, and I put 12-year-old me in front, or even like 10-year-old me, they'd be like, "You did what?" Like,
Right.
I can't even pronounce that word that you just said. It's one of those things where I'm starting to learn that like it's okay to bask in those little victories that you have and enjoy them. And then from there, like, grind on to the next move, but like take your time. Like it's something that wrestling has taught me too. Just take your time and let things breathe. And I think that's where I'm at now with life, is just like, hey man, it's time for me. Before I decide to hit the third act, I need to like just let things kind of simmer a little bit.
Right, right. Let the second that come to its own conclusion before you get there. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. So, as far as like, developing and continuing to grow and stuff like that, what kind of things are you doing to help develop yourself and grow yourself in not just like in the industry, but also in life as well?
In life, really, it's about to bring in my second child, really complete my family where it's at. It's really where most of my focus is at right now. And like thinking about all those things that I want to do and the things that I will eventually do. It's trying to focus and live in the now. Like, 'cause I've been exploring other interests. Like, I'm in a musical in a couple weeks, which is something I've never done before. And it's like all that scheduling that it takes, all the rehearsals and everything. I've been so overwhelmed. And like, but when life finally slows down again and it's just back to like family life, work, wrestling, I'm really wanting to train, get back to training every week and train with other schools around. There are so many great schools in the area. To promote someone who's done so much for me, like Jacob Edwin is one of the best wrestlers I have ever met, and he has done so many things for me. Like he bring like I send all my matches to him. He like feedback that you couldn't pay for. It's in those things like that, just like taking that and just really applying it and just training more. I guess this year is really what I'm wanting to do.
Mm, okay. There's no substitute for good training.
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah,
That can
proving
really open doors, going to new places, meeting new people, and you never know where that can lead.
you never know. You never know where that could lead. Especially if you find like the right place and are looking for a character that's similar to you,
Right.
you can slide in and just have so much fun. It's like for me, I think what I want to start doing too is kind of like introducing like an evolution of like Red Dog. Like face side of Red Dog will always be like the fun, all red, Deadpool looking, just
Right.
funny, talk shit kind of person. But like there's a part of me that kind of wants to start doing like big, braggadocious, like heel work. Like I don't know if you're familiar. There was a game back in like the early 2000s called Def Jam's Fight for New York, and like
I have heard of it, but I never played it.
classic. But I look at the character work there and I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is who I, whenever I imagine Red Dog, this is who I imagine. Like this dude tatted up, all shoulders, talking big trash, not caring, like letting his opponent know that he's about to beat their ass, mocking them the whole time. Like there's just so much that goes into it. And then stylistically, wrestling wise, like it's one of those games that like you just won't see again because it's hard to make, but like the different characters you had it were different rappers. It was such a beautifully put together game, and I brag about it all the time. And my friends are like, "Dog, it is 2026, and you're still talking about a game that came out in 2000, like 2003." I'm like,
Real art never dies. Real art
"No."
never dies.
I was like, "We're still talking about how great the Macho Man is. He's a great character." Yeah. So talk to me about about what difficulties you have being in a tag team because I'm not in one very often.
You know, there's a lot of pros and cons to being in a tag team, because there's gonna always gonna be times where you wanna see what you got on your own, like do the singles thing, test your own skills against other people. But there's nothing like sharing that spotlight and that success with somebody else, especially when you get to a point where you guys are friendly outside of the ring too. By the time me and Troy Thunder won our first championship at the Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance, we were on much better terms than when we started. We were never on bad terms, but we definitely weren't chummy. And like by by this point, things have gotten a lot better. We have a lot of accomplishments and things that we really appreciate more because it was together. And there's things that we want to do on our own, but there's a lot of things that we still want to do together.
Right. Right. It's funny because like when I see good tag teams together, especially with the faction that I'm in, when when I'm kind of running around with the guys, the fellas, when I'm teaming up with Pure Ignorance, you guys have actually ran into them, and
We
I just
have
remember I just remember the conversation of, "Oh my god, I will work these guys all the time." Just someone being so elated, which I was like, "That doesn't happen very often." So that's a feather in their cap.
they definitely gave us a fight. I'll tell you what. And unfortunately, that match didn't have as clear cut of a finish as either of us would have liked, with the Calamity sticking their nose in all of our business, which they will hopefully handle this coming April. Hopefully, at the SWA, keep those tag team championships for that rematch with Thunder Road.
Right.
But that's a whole different conversation.
Facts. It's funny though, man, because like one thing I love about like the one thing about Chaz, working Chaz, um, did he punch you?
Troy Thunder was unfortunately taking the brunt and the punishment for that one, as I was trying to get my way in, but I was definitely stuck on the apron more than not. They're pretty good at cutting off the ring.
They're really good at
Their
cutting off the
strategy is quite good.
what I really appreciate because I've worked Chaz in like a singles match, and my favorite thing about Chaz is that whenever he thinks it's time to do something wild, he will do something stupid where like he he's punched me in the face, like openly just socked me up, and he was like, "I'm so sorry." Like, shut up. Like, knew this.
They'll throw those in every once in a while, you know. It's all right.
Just
Give it back.
yeah, I'm just like, whatever. You just like throwing potatoes because you throw potatoes. But full transparency for him too. Like, that's what happens when you grow up in the mean streets of Baltimore. Like, you got to keep fighting. You got to push your way through, and then
Gotta balance the muscle memory.
yeah, then you kind of forget sometimes, and you're like, whatever, man. I'm just gonna hit you, and I'm like, all right, bro, you really hit me, and I'm really gonna hit you right back too. So
Right. It's gonna
we
turn
have our
into a very different type of match.
yeah, we have a lot of it's a lot of fun though. Especially, I've worked. I think I worked every one of them in a singles match except one of them. Maybe two, maybe two. Like all the pure. So I know like all of the pure ignorance group, and I'm
Right.
pretty sure I've worked all of them in single matches except two, which I plan on getting that changed sometime soon. Um,
Definitely. I haven't wrestled any of them one on one yet, so any of them listening, the invitation's out there.
hey, give them hands, bruh. Uh, so what I want to do is I want to spin this over. Well, actually, I want to ask you one more question before I get you into the hot seat. So my last question for you before we get into the hot seat is going to be simple, right? What's one of the hardest lessons you've had to learn being in the business?
Everything you do inside and outside of the ring matters. You know, there may be certain opinions or things that you want to say. Even like, I'm not even talking about anything political or anything. Just like in general about the business, that you kind of just gotta know when and when not to say it, when to keep it close to your chest and when to speak up, and definitely knowing when to shut my mouth has caused me a couple of problems earlier on.
That is a brutal truth that
Yeah,
a lot of people learn. Like I think I've been in that. Like I said, I've been in this for just long enough to watch people say something and just decimate like everything they had going for them, or they say something and then the world lights up for them. Like a lot of people like
like,
are so happy seeing them say something and like then they take off and they go through the roof. I mean, it is insane though. Sometimes like one wrong word or even being attached to
oh,
someone who said one wrong thing
oh
can
yeah,
just
speech is a powerful thing.
yes. Yep. And then the guilt by association is the worst because then you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yo, so let's spin this over to my favorite part of the podcast, which is the 3 count podcast, 10 count questions. And this is how it works. I'm gonna fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast, and whatever your answer is, that is your answer.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna put on the imaginary timer for added pressure.
Added
Bing.
pressure.
Yeah. And here we go. Favorite movie of all time.
Oh gosh. Pulp Fiction.
That's a great pick. Marvel or DC?
Marvel heroes, DC villains.
Ooh, I love the specificity. Favorite cartoon growing up.
Oh, Gravity Falls.
That's a good one. If you could be in any TV universe, which one would it be?
Oh. Ah. Oh gosh. Ah. That's a hard one. Sopranos. I don't know.
That's a good pick.
Close
Would you rather
enough.
be? Are you rather be? Are you an anime fan or a sitcoms fan?
I like a little bit of both, but if I'm going to choose one, I'm definitely more of a sitcom guy.
Love it. Apple or Android?
I think they're both terrible, but I currently use an Apple.
Favorite video game?
Oh. Red Dead Redemption
That's a great pick.
or anything Nintendo.
That's also love that as well. Theme song that you know every word to.
Um, Good Luck Charlie.
There you go. I like that. All right, if you had a soundtrack, if your life had a soundtrack right now, what song is playing?
What song is playing? Dancing in the Moonlight.
That's a great song. I need more people to know that
Good
track.
one. It's a good one.
It's a great pick. Yo, all right. And then the last question, my favorite question to ask every single person who comes on this podcast. Favorite curse word.
Whippersnapper.
Yes, it's a great pick.
It carries authority.
It carries. Yes, it does. All right. So the last thing I need from you, Dean, is to let all of our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
You can find the most Dean Moseley at Thunder Road on YouTube. 1R because I'm efficient. Dean Moseley on Facebook, Dean Moseley Pro. I'm currently working on making a website, so keep your eyes and ears out for that. And you can find me at any Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance, Summit Wrestling Association, World Domination Wrestling Alliance shows, and more to be added soon.
Well, he gave you all his handles. He told you where you can find him. So what does that mean? Like every great part of a wrestling match, we gotta take this home. Cause this is a 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. And now I'm your host, Clifford Red Dawg Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And like every good Sherpa, it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering? You see my man right there, the most Dean Moseley, and you guys know what that means. Tune in to the next episode and be there, or you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, you're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, you're doing all that fun stuff. You're following us on Spotify, you're checking us out on Apple Music, you're leaving those 5-star Frost Flash reviews on Apple Podcasts as well. You're checking us out on Amazon Music. You're even listening to us on that dumb app with the stupid jingle that goes, iHeartRadio, or whatever it is. You're buying our merch on foryourwear.com. Unless you're looking for all that classic tees look that we like doing, you're finding that on prowrestlingtees.com. You're telling your mom about it, your dad about it, your aunties, your uncles, your grandma, your grandpas, your spouse, your kids, your best friends, your enemies. That's right, because we love haters too. You're doing that stuff, but really you're just waiting for this episode to end. You're waiting for that outro, and then you're choosing another episode to listen to. Kawaii. What's up? It is your friendly neighborhood Red Dawg, and thank you for checking out this episode of the 3 Count Podcast. Whether that was Chaz Friends, Red Dawg Friends, Damien Friends, The Film Styles, Now Entering the Ring, Now Entering 201, or Now Returning to the Ring, all those great episodes, you should really be liking, commenting, and even sharing this with your friends, family, whoever it may be. But what you all should be doing is checking us out on all of our social media platforms at 3Count Pod. Whether that's on IG, Twitch, you can check us out on Threads, whatever it may be. And if you go check us out on X, it is 3Count_pod. Check us out on YouTube, as well as Facebook, on Rumble, on Apple Music, on Spotify. All those fun things. Tell your mom about us, your dad about us, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, and your best friends and your enemies, because we love haters too. Do all that stuff. And then, last but not least, buy our merch on foryourwear.com or prowrestlingtees.com. Kawaii. Like daggers, they gristle the dark and fight for survival.